guys, it's your girl, Ashley Kirkwood with the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast, where we teach you how to start at the top of the speaking market instead of working your way up from the bottom. During this show, you will hear solo episodes from me, where I'll show you how I have landed and negotiated 5- and 6-figure speaking contracts and licensing deals. You'll also hear from our amazing guests who have grown enormous speaking businesses by utilizing sales and marketing principles that work. If you want to grow your speaking business, listen to this podcast, and then afterwards, head on over to ashleynicolekirkwood.shop and grab my book, Speak Your Way to Cash, How to Start at the Top of the Speaking Market Instead of Working Your Way Up from the Bottom. Ready to dive in? Let's go. Hey, y'all. What's up to the Speak Your Way to Cash family? It's Ashley Kirkwood back again with another podcast episode. But this time, guys, I am actually going to let you listen in to a live video that I recorded. Now, if you're listening to this live video on the podcast and you're like, I want to join your next live, I want to ask you questions, I want to be able to get feedback about my business, then you have to follow me on Instagram at The Ashley Nicole Show, and make sure you're following the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook page, all right? Make sure you're following the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook page because that's where I go live. I also sometimes go live in the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group, but enough about that. Even though you may have missed it live, you're about to hear it again. So listen into this live episode and let me know what you think. You can always send me an email to ashley@speakyourwaytocash.com. Let's listen in. Hello, Speak Your Way to Cash family. I am so excited and honored today to interview David Newman of Do It Marketing. You all are in for a treat. So if you have not met David yet, then this is your special introduction. He's the author of several books, Do It Marketing and Do It Speaking, both of which I highly recommend and have read myself, and they're very easy to read. So David, welcome to the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast.
Thank you, Ashley. It's great to be here.
Excellent. Well, tell us a little bit about how you started off as an entrepreneur and what led you to a speaking career to further grow your business and help so many others do the same.
Well, so like many of our listeners, I had a corporate career. I had a real job. I had made an honest living with like a real paycheck for about 10 years. And I worked internally at either a consulting company or a training company, technology consulting, HR and management consulting. That's what I did. And then in 2002, I decided to go out on my own, thinking, I know how to coach. I know how to train. I know how to do workshops and seminars. How hard can it be? And of course, like most corporate refugees, we find out exactly how hard it can be, because once you're on the outside, it's not about doing the work, it's about getting the work. So I was literally clueless. I had no idea about sales, about prospecting, about how to find the right kinds of speaking opportunities, the companies, the associations, the conferences, the groups, totally clueless. Like I literally struggled for years, Ashley, unnecessarily struggled because I was also reluctant to hire mentors. And I'm not even talking about high-priced, super expensive mentors. I wasn't willing to listen to my friends. I wasn't willing to listen to some people who were, people would check on me. They say, well, David, how you doing in this entrepreneurial thing? Let me know how I can help you. Is there, do you want to sit down for coffee? I was like, no, I got it figured out. And I had nothing figured out, right? So I let my ego get in the way of getting all kinds of help, free help, low-cost help, medium-priced help, expensive help. I wasn't having any of it. And of course, now, Ashley, you and I both know that you accelerate the speed and you multiply your results the moment that you connect with a great mentor. And so looking at the first 10 years of my business, I really underinvested in mentorship and coaching programs and masterminds and things like that. I would say in the most recent 10 years, I have overinvested. And I don't mean over as in too much. I am now biased towards, if there is help out there that will help me shorten the path or accelerate the speed that I want to get to a result that I want to get to, I am going to put money down. I am now the first person to invest. I used to be the last person to invest. And my business obviously has taken quantum leaps because of some of those mentors and coaches and programs that have really multiplied and amplified my success. So Folks listening to Ashley, sign up with Ashley, buy her program, do her thing. You are only slowing yourself down if you're not going to do that.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point. And, we're really honored today, Speak Your Way to Cash fam, because David understands both sales and marketing. And a lot of folks in the space will talk about one or the other, but your books really touch on both. So first, because I know this is something that isn't always clearly defined, what is the difference between sales and marketing?
Such a great question. So I'm going to zero in specifically in our world of the independent speaker, coach, consultant, trainer. In a large corporation, you have an entire marketing department with dozens or hundreds of people and an entire sales department with dozens or hundreds of people. When we are a company of one, the distinction line between marketing and sales is very, very simple. Marketing is everything that you do, both inbound and outbound, to generate a prospect, a voice-to-voice conversation with a prospect. Once you're having that initial voice-to-voice, face-to-face, Zoom-to-Zoom conversation with a prospect, that is the demarcation point where you have now crossed over into a sales process. So what you say, how you say it, what you do, how you do it, before that human-to-human conversation, and whatever it takes to get to that conversation and to earn that conversation, is marketing. Everything that happens after that goes from initial contact all the way through signed contract, that is sales. And you're exactly right, Ashley, that one of the things, people sometimes will ask me about the Do It Marketing book specifically. How is this different than all the other zillions of marketing books that are out there? And the distinction that I draw is that there's a lot of marketing books and marketing programs and marketing philosophies that just have you look at marketing for the sake of marketing. What we really look at is sales-driven marketing, meaning marketing that leads to a sales conversation that rings the cash register. Because if we were just to lead you up to the door, have you knock on the door, and then when someone opens the door, it's like, hey, you're on your own. Sorry, too bad, good luck. We would not be being of good service to our readers and our audience. So we help you not only open the door, but walk through that door and close the deal and get the check.
Yes, and I agree with that. And, it's funny because you take some contrarian points in your books. Really, I know you've heard this. It's wrong. Don't do it. And one of the things that I found that was so interesting is and it actually helped me out. So me and David and I were supposed to do this interview a little bit earlier, and it got canceled because I'd earned a press feature. And I was reading your book, and it was like, there's nothing that says washed up like old press. And I was like, what is the last time I've done a TV appearance? We are fixing this today. And I think it was maybe last year, but it really stuck with me because, you get this when you are a small company, these things take campaigning. So you're pitching and prospecting for press features, knowing good and well for most of my audience and myself, it's not just doing the press that gets you the business. It's the way that you leverage the press that gets you the business. But I found that so inspiring. So since that first interview that we had to cancel, we've done 2 TV features, just making sure that we're going on as executive consultants and pushing our message forward. But I wanted your opinion on this. For me, if you write op-eds or if you do podcasts, that has led to more money than doing TV features, even though I can pitch with TV features and things like that. But with your clients and in your experience, how are people leveraging press to actually land paid engagements? And have you seen any best practices or things that folks should stay away from? Because there's a lot of misperceptions about press and what it will do for your business.
Oh my gosh, and how. And I don't want to insult any PR agencies or PR firms, but I will tell you, and again, this is about business model, service model, revenue model. Mm-hmm. For the independent professional speaker, professional expert, traditional media and hiring a PR firm to quote unquote get your name out there, that is typically not a good use of funds. And people have come to us, I'm sure, Ashley, your clients have come to you, having wasted maybe even thousands or tens of thousands of dollars on PR and going, okay, I'm going to have to learn to hunt and fish on my own. I cannot abdicate. I cannot delegate. I am my own PR firm. And like you said, I'm going to be on those podcasts. I'm going to go out and I am going to look at a live streaming strategy. I'm going to find the conferences and associations and groups that I want to penetrate, and I will offer to do for them a virtual presentation, a webinar. I will be a guest on their association's podcast. I will offer to write a column for their email newsletter or their blog or their association magazine. So the more that you can get in front of an audience that has a direct line to a speaking opportunity. So think in terms of, and this is also the difference between major media versus niche media. Mm-hmm. If you and I get into the New York Times, that is fantastic. And we are a rock star for one day. Right. The next day, that same piece of newspaper is wrapping a dead fish, and it's going to take someone's dinner home from the fish market. However, if you're on a podcast, if you're on a blog, if you're on some permanent piece of real estate that is in that association or conference's realm, that's going to be a lead generator for you forever. Yep. And what you say and how you say it, if there's backlinks in there, if there is a call to action or a download or a lead magnet as part of your signature block or your little mini bio at the end of that article. I mean, we literally have things, and I'm sure you have the same. We have things that we've published 5, 6, 7 years ago. We have podcasts that we've been on 5, 6, 7 years ago that are still generating inbound traffic, leads, and sales. So I think you have to think more strategically, exactly as you just said. Traditional media is great for some things, and it's the way that you repurpose it and the way that you redistribute it that makes all the difference. But niche media, and especially niche media that is tied to a speaking-driven opportunity, whether that's an association, whether that's a conference, whether that's an event, whether that's a group that has meetings and events locally, regionally, nationally, internationally, we have to think strategically about our content marketing so that the content is in front of an audience or an economic buyer who can also hire you to speak.
Yes, and that's the difference, everyone, because I know it looks so cool to be on television. And I often am telling speakers the same thing about glamorous stages. So everyone's like, oh, well, are you going to speak at Essence? Are you going to do South by Southwest? And I was like, well, look, those stages typically aren't paying non-celebrity speakers. So it's really like this association in Idaho that may give me a $20,000 check before this most beautiful, some of the gorgeous stages I've been on have been lead generation opportunities, but they were not highly paid speaking opportunities. I've gotten the most money just sitting in my house doing a virtual presentation for a company you may have never heard of. So I highly recommend you all take heed to David's advice. And so I guess another question I have for you, since you've worked with folks in different industries, even beyond speaking, when you think about business models for speakers, there are some that only want to do keynote presentations. And then there's others that really focus more in the workshops. They're not going to get up there and give a dynamic keynote, but they're going to give really solid information to a company. Do you see them having vastly different marketing strategies? And if so, what are some things that people often forget when developing their marketing strategy?
Yeah, wow. So many great questions, all wrapped up in one. I do want to address the speaking only business model. Yeah. My personal opinion, having worked with 1,800 speaker, coach, consultant, trainer type people, and probably a handful of folks who are also just pure speakers. If all you have in your toolkit is speaking, I think you have a one-legged stool. So you have a one-legged stool instead of a two-legged or three-legged or four-legged stool. And I also think that, name the tragedy of your choice. I mean, 9/11, financial meltdown of 2007, 2008, pandemic of 2020, what looks like emerging war of 2022. Yeah. When events are canceled, when meetings are, hey, no fly zone, no meetings, stay home. It's not a question of if there's going to be some next global craziness. It's a question of when. If all you have in your toolkit is speaking, I think you're missing out on some opportunities that if you had a coaching product or an online course or a consulting program or, virtual training available to clients, think of it, I think it was Joe Calloway who said, a lot of speakers think of themselves like a 12-ounce can of Coke. That, a 12-ounce can of Coke is a 12-ounce can. And sometimes you can get a 12-ounce can, sometimes you can't. The really successful speakers look at themselves as the Coke. They don't look at themselves as the can, because Coke is available all kinds of different ways, all kinds of different sizes. 2-liter bottle. You can grab a Coke at McDonald's. You can get a 55-gallon drum of Coke syrup and make your own soda. It can come out of a fountain. It can come out of a bottle. It can come out of a can. You can go get it at a convenience store. So think about what are the different distribution methods for your expertise. And if you're not great at those other distribution methods, you really have two choices. Number one is study them, get better at them, like you got great at keynoting, for example, or hire, delegate, outsource. So I've got a number of clients where they are the face and the voice of the company. They're the face and the voice of the brand. They spend 90% of their time speaking, but after a speech, they go, hey, Gary, hey, Barbara, is this something where you could come and consult with our company about this? And Gary and Barbara say, absolutely. Let me put you in touch with my director of consulting. Her name is Susan, and she would love to talk to you about how we can take these ideas and make them real inside your company. Right. So even though you say, well, I'm a terrible coach, I'm an awful consultant, I don't have the patience for training. Find people who do and who already have that skill. And this is another huge opportunity, Ashley, because as you and I both know, there are so many people that are much better at doing the work than they are at selling the work. Yeah. So if you can do the front end sales, you're the face and the voice of the empire. But then, hey, can you coach me through some of these ideas that you just spoke about? Of course we can. Again, always use the we language right from the very first instance, right? Of course we can. You should talk to Teresa, our director of coaching. Let me set you up with a phone call and you two can talk about how we can coach your executive team around these ideas. So I think it's really important not to have a speaking only business model. That doesn't mean that you can't only do speaking. You can certainly only do speaking, but your company should do other things as well.
Yeah, those are such incredible points. And it also helps, like when you have that initial conversation with your potential client, to preview some of the other offers that you have so that they don't only put you in a bag. Because early on, that was my biggest mistake, is I would get on a call, I'd sell this one speech beautifully, and then I'd see them hiring other people to do other things that we could have handled. But of course, there was no previewing. I was so focused on that one speech. And so we always tell folks, preview everything, sell them into what they want. But at least now they're thinking about you for other opportunities. And that is such a good point. Now, I know there are people right now thinking, okay, it sounds great. Director of consulting, director of coaching. I can't afford a director level salary. But what I assume is that you're thinking of partnering or contracting and things of that nature. Can you talk about how to have the appearance of a larger company through some of those strategies that you've seen work versus going out and hiring full-time people right out the gate?
Yes. Great distinction. And you're exactly tracking along with my suggestion. These are going to be people that you either have a strategic alliance with, a partnership of some kind, or they simply come in under your banner. And many, many people are happy to, because of what I just said a moment ago. So many people are great at doing the work, and they're just terrible at getting the work, or they don't enjoy the sales process. So if you have the sales, you have the clients, you have the opportunity to deliver because they're asking you. It's like, Ashley, can you come and train our team? Ashley, can you come and consult with our C-suite? Ashley, can you coach our top VP level people? The answer is yes, we can. And then these people you simply have in your back pocket. They cost you no money until you deploy them on a project. So they're running their own business when they're not working with and for you. But the moment they start working with and for you, these people are an instant profit center. Because let's say that you say, hey,
it is here. The Speak Your Way to Cash book is now available for you to purchase. go to Amazon to get your audio, Kindle, or hardcover copy of the book. And we have a paperback copy, okay? So you can get it on Audible and listen to it. And I read it myself. So if you love the podcast, you will love the audiobook. Go get it now. Speak Your Way to Cash, how to start at the top of the speaking market instead of working your way up from the bottom. A bit about the book. It's broken down into 6 parts, and it is over 260 pages of goodness, okay? Part 1 covers mindset. Part 2 covers getting yourself in the press. Part 3 covers assembling your 6-figure offer. Part 4 covers inviting people to work with you, sales. Part 5 covers delivering an outstanding speech. And Part 6 covers legalities that every speaker needs and how to build a team. I mean, literally, what did we leave out? Nothing. So go to Amazon and grab your copy today. And let me know you did it too.
Let's coach your whole top team. And let's pick a number. That's going to be a $30,000 90-day project. You turn around to your person. They don't need to know what you sold it for. They say, hey, would you be willing to coach these 5 executives for the next 90 days? And I'll pay you $7,500. Sure. So you're charging 30, you're paying 7,500. You just made $22,500 profit, and you can be sitting on the beach for the next 90 days, and you're still making money because you got a paying client and you have a delivery person. And, this is welcome to capitalism. This is literally welcome to capitalism. Sell high, buy low. That's the magic of it. And these people are literally an instant profit center. Every minute, every hour that they work is actually making you money. It's not costing you money.
Exactly. And for those who are thinking like, oh no, I can't do that. I have to give them 60 or 70% or even more. I need you to understand that you have marketing expenses, sales expenses, and it's still your client. So you still should be providing the admin support, the documents that they need, making sure they're not coming out of pocket to deliver that. And so that money allows you to redeploy your money into marketing. Because I know there's people who really struggle with that idea because they're just so heart-centered. And I know my people, I know that you're all like, no. This does not seem fair, but you have to think about making the best decision for your business. Another thing that you cover in your book that's so pertinent is, a lot of my clients struggle with this in the very beginning, choosing a niche, choosing a particular area to dominate in the marketplace. Even if you expand later, when first starting out, selecting that initial area where you are going to be the go-to person, or you're going to develop a framework, or you're going to develop a process. What considerations do you advise folks make when trying to choose a niche? Because I know that for a lot of people, it's hard because they're like, well, I don't have any clients. I don't want to exclude clients right out the gate.
Well, so yes, and yes. And this is a question I'm sure you get all the time. It's a question we get all the time. I think the mantra is target what you want, and you can always take what comes. So whenever people start freaking out about, oh no, but if I focus on just women executives in the tech industry, I'm going to be limiting my options. I'm leaving money on the table. All this craziness starts to filter through your mind. And what you're really doing by not deciding, when you're not deciding and you're not niching down, that's when you're really leaving money on the table, because every single client, every single audience has specific problems, and there is no such thing as a generic solution to a specific problem. So the way to instantly decommoditize yourself is to declare exactly what people you serve. Don't be squishy about it. Don't be wishy-washy. Don't hedge your bets and try and be clever, but literally say, these are my people. And then secondly, what problems do you solve for those people? And again, very specific, very clear, loud and proud. And I want you to think about this another way for all of our listeners. This does not limit who you have conversations with. This only limits who you start conversations with. So when you wake up in the morning and you know it's going to be women executives in the tech industry, all of a sudden, all kinds of things become clear. You know where to market. You know where to network. You know where to get published. Ashley, we were talking about media a second ago. You know where to go get media. You know what blogs to hang out in. You know what people to follow on LinkedIn, like their stuff, comment on their stuff, connect with those people. You know what conferences and groups and associations and meetings you need to pay attention to. You need to know what the talk track is, because you're now talking to that specific type of buyer that has those specific types of problems. Now, someone else just happens to find you or sees you in the media or finds your website, or you get referred or recommended. Someone comes in side door, back door, whatever, talk to them. It does not limit who you have conversations with. It should only limit and really guide you into who you start conversations with.
Yeah, that is such a great distinction, and it adds so much clarity to the discussion. And so now you all should feel more comfortable. You should feel more comfortable, and you have to read both of the books as well, because there were over 70 strategies for how to market and how to get started with your career and what to do and things to consider. And so what's the biggest mistake you see speakers making in their marketing? I know there's a lot that you may see, but what is the number one mistake, if you had to pare it down, that speakers are making in their marketing?
Easy, slam dunk answer. Number one answer, just like on Family Feud. I call it I, me, and my messaging. When you get either on the website, like literally I've seen this on speakers' homepages, not on their bio, because the bio technically is about you. I'm talking about on your homepage, on your topics page, on your speaking page. It's I, me, and my. It's like I, me, my, right? I am blah, 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 blah. My favorite topics to share with my audiences, me. Nothing about the buyer, nothing about the audience, nothing about the value or the impact or the results or the outcomes of what you actually speak on, but it becomes this vanity piece. And I think it's because when we are the product, and unsophisticated marketers and unsophisticated sellers think, well, I need to tell them as much as I possibly can about the product. The problem is the product is me. So I end up talking about myself way too much. The solution to that and the turnaround on that is to have a buyer-centric or an audience-centric message. Take every instance of I, me, and my and replace it with the words you, your, and audience. So your audience is hungry for, your audience is struggling with, your audience is looking for ways to solve you, your, audience. That now becomes a buyer-centric and an audience-centric marketing message. And even if you do just that one change, do a quick scan of your website and literally try this as an academic exercise. Replace every instance of I, me, and my with you, your, and audience, and you will start to flip this. There is nothing, by the way, and I've done this live on webinars and Zoom calls with clients. I say we need to change absolutely. We need to do an I, me, and my-ectomy. We're doing an I, me, and my-ectomy. We're removing every instance of I, me, and my. So instead of I will teach you, you will learn. Instead of I will give you, you will get, or your audience will get. Your audience will walk away from this session being able to bam, 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 right? And it's verbs, it's action verbs, it's not learning verbs. So things like build, boost, improve, create, reduce, slash, fix, eliminate. That is what is result language. And that's what my audience will get when we hire you. So that's how to market, and that's how to convey your value.
Well, that is excellent. And you all should go and check out, I'll make sure I link to it, his website, because it's great copy. It really draws you in. And what you're talking about is copywriting. Your copy, you guys, is so critically important. I believe that you should read every book also. There's a few good ones that I really like, but on books on copywriting, because it really does help. And this is for everything in your life. And one of the things that we talk about often with our audience is cold and warm emailing, and how you don't put your bio at the top. Like I used to see a lot of emails and it start off like, hi, my name is this, and I've done all these great things. But it's like, but they don't care who you are yet. So you start off with any commonality you have with them. Hey, see that we're both Northwestern law graduates. Then you go into, I'd love to show your audience how to blank, blank, blank. Then at the very end, I never give bios. I make hyperlinks. If you want to learn more about me, you can read my recent Forbes feature here. Like, I never even go into the law school and the top grades and the $500 million cases. And they don't even care. So think about it for you all. You guys are only listening to this podcast because I'm interviewing someone who knows a lot about marketing and sales, and you're going to get something out of it. You would not listen to this podcast if it was me and David talking about only our accomplishments. Like, that would be so boring and not relevant to you at all. So it's the exact same thing for your client. So I love that. You got to get good at writing copy or hire a copywriter. But personally, what are your thoughts on this? I don't believe you should, in the beginning, hire things that you don't understand because you can't check the work. Are you a fan of learning it yourself, perfecting the system, and then outsourcing? Or what are your thoughts on doing that in terms of marketing and sales in your business? Because a lot of my clients want to just hire someone to sell for them, and it typically doesn't work. So what are your thoughts on that?
Complete recipe for disaster. I am so glad, Ashley, that you're asking about this, because you cannot delegate something that you do not understand and haven't, at least to some extent, mastered, right? Because how will you know if they're doing it right? So you're paying this other way. And I love your two examples, right? Copywriting and then outsourcing sales. By the way, let's talk about outsourcing sales for a quick second, because this is kind of like the purple unicorn of the speaking industry. It's like, I'm a great speaker and I just love being with my audience and I love writing my books and I just want someone to take care of the selling part. I don't like the selling part. I don't get the selling part. Selling is dirty. I just want to wash my hands of the whole sales process. Salesperson comes in. Any seasoned salesperson that is worth her or his weight in any way, shape, or form is going to say, well, Ashley, tell me, when you're selling yourself, what are some of the best strategies that you found? Oh, no, I suck at it. I have no idea how to sell myself. Oh, well, Ashley, I'm curious. Can you share some call recordings with me of you closing a sale for $15,000, $20,000? No, I've never closed the sale for $15,000, $20,000. I thought that was your job. So it's like trying to build a house without a blueprint, right? You can have an architect who's the best architect in the world, who's going to build your house. And they either are going to have a blueprint, right? Or they're going to work with your blueprint. If you design the house yourself, that's when they start building. Imagine hiring an architect saying, don't worry about the blueprint. Just start bringing in the concrete truck. Let's just start laying the foundation. We'll put some walls up. It'll be great. The architect would look at you like, have you lost your mind? We need a blueprint first. What does the blueprint show you? How it's supposed to work in the ideal situation. So I'm a huge believer that you got to be at least a C+ or a B- at any task before. You don't need to be an A. You don't need to be the world's greatest copywriter before you start hiring a copywriter. You don't need to be the world's greatest salesperson. A lot of speakers, though, they're D's and F's, and they're trying to hire an A salesperson. The A salesperson is going to become a D or an F salesperson because they get D or F training from you. If you don't know how to sell yourself, what to say, what to send. Hey, what's the sales process? Don't have a sales process. Show me your CRM. Oh, what's a CRM? Is that like CPR? Is that like when you're trying to revive somebody with a heart attack? No, my friends, it's your customer relationship management software. Now, tell me how you're using LinkedIn to find prospects. Oh, I don't use LinkedIn to find prospects. I wish I knew how to find LinkedIn. So you need to master it to a certain degree first. Otherwise, when you hire it out, it's going to be a disaster because you're not an educated consumer. You don't know what you're paying for, and you don't know what excellent looks like. Yep. So that is huge, huge, huge. Get to be a C+ or a B-. I love, Ashley, what you said. Read a couple of copywriting books. If you're not sure how to sell yourself as a speaker, pick up a copy of Do It Speaking. There's some strategies, tactics, scripts, templates in there. Do it yourself. Close the, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 first. Once you have your own rhythm and you have your own process, then you can start to think about, how do I hire this? How do I delegate this? How do I outsource this? But delegation without first mastering it is really abdication. Like you've totally abdicated your responsibility. You've washed your hands of it. And every single client that has done that the wrong way or at the wrong time has regretted it because they've wasted so much time and money.
Oh, yeah. And it's so sad, too. I mean, and you guys, look, I totally get it because I've always, before even going to law school, I was a inside sales rep. So I would make hundreds of sales calls a day, get told no a ton. I maybe got 2 or 3 yeses a day, and that still put me in the top 5% of sales. So I love selling, literally love it. I didn't even hate the job. Like some people are like, I had a sales job, I hated it. I love selling. So I thought because I was good at selling, you know, I could just bring in another salesperson like, hey, do what I do, watch the recordings, figure it out. I didn't give them a script. I didn't give them a checklist. I didn't give them, now we have a graphical roadmap of every single, like you can see all the data points. If the client is here, this is the next step. This is where you put them in HubSpot. This is where you take them in LinkedIn. And originally I didn't do that. So not only do you need to be good, but you need to have a roadmap for them, a real sales script. And we had someone come in and do sales. And the first time they did it, they didn't follow the sales script. I mean, she did like 30 calls, didn't close anything. And I'm like, this can't be right. Soon as we hired someone else who followed the sales script, they started closing calls because the sales script was literally developed from all the recordings of my sales calls. So record your sales calls and then have your roadmaps ready to go. And I'll tell you, because if you all are like me, maybe you're like, well, I'm not really good, Ashley and David, at developing sales scripts and writing these things down in a comprehensive manner. There are operations management consultants that will just have calls with you and they'll develop out your SOPs. And that's what we did, mainly because I'm busy, but that's what we did. And it was great. It was great, but you have to give them, 1, you should be good. 2, you need to give them all of the tech tools, all of the systems, the checklist, and the scripts that they need to be successful. You can't outsource before that. If you do, you're just wasting money. And it's not fair to them. And they're great. And now you've ruined their confidence because now they're batting 0 and they're wondering why. But I know that every salesperson I know wants to hire. They want to either hire a salesperson or get an agent. Every agent I've talked to has been like, Ashley, how much did you do last year? They're all going to ask that question. Like you have to have something for them to work with because there needs to be a benefit for them sharing their customers with you the same way you need to share your customer data with them. So there's no out of it.
Well, and you put your finger on that. That's my second spot pet peeve is, and again, this is people coming out of corporate because, you know, when you're in a corporate job, you think you're some sort of goddess. Or some sort of god, like you're unstoppable. You have a team, you have admin people, you got a fancy business card. When you say jump, a whole bunch of people say how high. So people come out of that corporate environment and they will literally say, and this is the funniest thing that I hear coming out of a new speaker's mouth. Well, I think I'll just hire a speakers bureau. It's like, number one, you don't hire a speakers bureau. That's not a thing. And a speakers bureau works for the client. They don't work for the speaker. So speakers bureaus, you know what they call people like Ashley and me? We are inventory. That's the sexy name that they have for us. It's like, yeah, this is our inventory. And then they will work with the client, the hiring company or conference or event, and they will submit anywhere from 10 to 15 speakers. Depending for one spot, hey, here's 10 to 15 choices. It's like a real estate agent shows you 10 or 15 houses. They don't care which house you buy. They don't care which speaker you hire. As long as it's one of their speakers, they will still get their 30%. So the speakers bureau and the speakers bureau agent, that is not your salesperson. That is not your agent. It is not your friend. It might be, if you're lucky, it might be a conduit to 1 or 2 gigs a year, not 1 or 2 gigs a month, 1 or 2 additional gigs a year. And Ashley, it's exactly what you're saying. Unless you're already booking 20, 30, 40 dates on your own Steam, they won't even look at you. So the quick, short little blurb on speakers bureaus, they are great at managing existing demand. They are not great at creating demand. A bureau will never create demand for you. You need to create demand for you. Once there's some momentum going, then after you're booking 30, 40 dates a year at $7,500 or more, now you're bureau ready, and there may be a bureau relationship that could add 5 or 10% to your bottom line. But that's literally how small it is. And a lot of these corporate folks, the first thing in their head, because maybe they've worked with the Speakers Bureau on the hiring side when they were in corporate, they go, oh, this is not hard, Ashley. I'm just going to go hire a Speakers Bureau. Not how it works at all.
No, you need your own relationships. And it's the same with, we talked about PR earlier. One thing I love about getting my own PR is now I have my own press contacts and relationships. When you hire a publicist and they pitch you to all those folks, they're not necessarily sharing with you. Typically, they're not. Like, I've asked, but typically they're not even sharing who they've pitched you to. Like, that does not become internal data for you. And if you look at Oprah and some other greats, what they did eventually is they brought everything in-house so that they could manage the relationship, and they had people they could go to. And it's the same with your clients. When you have clients, you need a good referral system, because those are your best leads. They're the people who love you, know who you are. They're great. You like working with them. They know other people like themselves. So you really have to learn to do it on your own. I think speaking is a lot of fun, but I consider myself a salesperson. I sell speeches. I owned a law firm as well. I'm a lawyer, but I sold legal services. That was my primary job, was to sell legal services. I can always get an attorney to do legal work, but selling legal services is a totally different skill set. So yeah, I totally agree. This has been such a good discussion. So we're coming to the close of our fabulous discussion. I recommend both of David's books. Seriously, I've read them cover to cover in a couple of days, actually. And the way it's, first off, your internal book design is gorgeous. So
thank you.
They're really well laid out. I mean, to produce something like that is no small feat. It really made it even more enjoyable to read, and then all of the resources. And when you read the book, guys, don't just read the content, but look at how he's also talking about his services, because also so many of you have books, but if people love you, there's nowhere for them to go to learn more about you. So really don't just look at what amazing people do, look at how they do it and what you can learn from that as well. So where can we learn more about you? Grab your books. And I know that you also have a free webinar that people can take advantage of as well, because I know I've gone through that too.
Right. Absolutely. So a couple of free resources. doitmarketing.com/webinar is where we have our current free on-demand masterclass training. We also have the Do It Marketing Manifesto, which pulls out some of the key ideas from the Do It Marketing book. That's available at doitmarketing.com/manifesto. And then, of course, we have all kinds of other free things on the website. There's a blog there. There is our podcast called The Selling Show, formerly The Speaking Show, but we realized that speakers really need help with selling and sales. So we kind of rebranded that recently. And so that's really where to get all the goodies. As far as the books, Amazon, wherever you buy your books, these are traditionally published books. The Do It Marketing book came from Amicom, which is the American Management Association's publishing division. And the Do It Speaking book is from HarperCollins. So any major book retailer will have your conduit to buying those two books. And there's also some bonuses, Ashley, that you just mentioned. So thank you for that. All the bonuses are at doitmarketing.com/book.
Yes, amazing. Really enjoyable speaking to you. You all have a lot to digest from this episode. As you know, our episodes are very meaty, so feel free to rewind it, hear it back, listen to it again, take some notes, and don't be afraid to sell, and do not be afraid to market. Someone asked me recently how often, I just came off our 3-day Pitch Your Way to Cash challenge, and someone asked, how often should you send emails? You don't want to annoy your audience. How often should you be marketing and selling? And I was like, well, how often do you want to make money? You know, you have to do this stuff consistently. No one acts out of Amazon or Walmart or any other corporation that is promoting services and products that will help people. And that's what all of you are doing. So go out there, market your business, get some calls, have some conversion conversations, and sell your services to the world. Thank you so much for joining Speak Your Way to Cash. And as always, you are only one yes away from your next level. I will talk to you guys later. All right. Wasn't that interview amazing? If you're anything like me, you have pages full of notes. But here's the thing. Before you head out, I want you to go to facebook.com and join the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group. That is where I am. That's where a ton of other speakers are, a ton of other people who listen to the show. We all congregate there and chat. and it's 100% free. Now, if you're ready to take your speaking career to the next level, I have 2 ways for you to do that. One, you can go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com/SYWTC live replay and pick up the live replay. That training is 7 modules, chock full of information. It's crazy. Go over there, read all about it. Or if you want a more personal experience, you already know that you want to be a speaker. You're ready to fully commit and you want someone to walk you through it and save you tons of time Googling and doing it on your own, then book a VIP day with me. You can go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com, scroll down until you see the VIP day section and get more information on that there. All right. Thank you guys again for watching. Please do not forget to leave us a review. That is how we keep this train rolling and get some of the best speakers in the world to get on this show. So please, please, please leave a review. Shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram, and Facebook in the Speaker Ready Cash group, Instagram at The Ashley Nicole Show, and I'd be more than happy to chat with you and say hi. All right, y'all have an awesome, awesome day.